Hi, everybody. I'm Jeffrey Driscoll.
And I'm Jim Kerr.
And welcome to 15 Minutes of Fame. Well, Jim, hockey's over for another year, at least the on-ice stuff. The Los Angeles Kings won the Stanley Cup, as we all know by now. Although not everybody knows that. We're going to get to that here later in the GABBYs here. But Jonathan Quick picked up the Conn Smythe. What did you think of the playoffs as a whole?
I think the best series out of the whole thing has to have been the Philly-Pittsburgh series. That was just so much fun. All the high scoring and the fighting and the mean words between games and all that. That was lovely stuff right there. It's almost a shame that it couldn't have happened later in the playoffs. But yeah. I think after that series was over, for some of us there was a bit of almost like a hangover. Like you kind of like, well, none of these series are going to be as good as that one. But
that's right.
Each one had their ups and downs, and I think overall it was a great little stretch for hockey fans. Lots of talking points, as viewers of the show will more than know.
That's right.
But I think in the end, an exciting storyline made its way from 8th in the West to holding the Stanley Cup, and that's awesome. And like the LA Kings, sure they were a good 8th seed, but it doesn't change the fact that they were the 8th seed, and that they came in and destroyed teams,
ruined them,
and then they almost ended up having to play a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup final, which would have been crazy too, because that's not how it went for them in the first 3 rounds. But overall, it was great, I would say.
Yeah, a whole lot of fun to watch. Seriously though, the Kings one road loss the whole time. Like that's absolutely amazing. Were they that kind of team? Like, are they an upper echelon team that gets spoken of in the same way that the Islanders of the early '80s or the Oilers or the Montreal Canadiens get talked about? I don't know, but like those teams didn't have that kind of prowess in the.
Here's how you get into that group: you win it again.
That's right.
And again, and if this is the start of a something special for the Kings, they certainly have the groundwork for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That team is absolutely stacked, and if players want to play Dustin Penner, then it's amazing. Like they're really going to have some people. So it's going to be interesting to see the LA Kings in the future. And that's actually what Sutter said in his post-game press conference. It was how do these guys feel better? Well, do it all over again. You know what I mean? It's just about time to do it all all over again, he said, which is hilarious. So, well, up next in the NHL, we've got the awards and the draft. Just quickly with the awards, we talked about a little bit before, but will an Edmonton Oiler take home a trophy, Jim?
I'm going to say probably not.
Yeah.
But both guys nominated are more than deserving of the trophies they're nominated for. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins should win the Calder.
He should.
But all the talk seems to be, or at least when the announcement came out of the finalists, it all seemed to be Gabriel Landeskog that people were getting. And then, I mean, Adam Henrique certainly made a case for himself, the way he played down the stretch. But I think RNH deserves it, and he, same number of points, way fewer games. I don't know how you don't give it to him.
Agreed.
But I have the feeling they're not going to give it to him.
No.
And as for Jordan Eberle, he's a worthy nominee for the Lady Byng too. But that's kind of that's a crapshoot a little bit with the Lady Byng, because it's guys with a lot of points and not a lot of penalty minutes. Well, you just pick one of the. It's not like the MVP. You were the most valuable. This is just like a guy who has points but doesn't get a lot of penalties. So there's a bunch of guys with sort of similar numbers, and you like should they go in and break down what penalties they did get and see who it was just delay of game. Well, that's less of a penalty than high sticking. You're more gentlemanly than Matt Molson.
Right.
So I don't know really how they decide, how they figure out who's the most gentlemanly player, but
see what they do is they bring all those players in and they have a dinner and they see who's the most polite when they have that dinner. Like no, you go first. No, okay, well thank you. That's what you do. And see who's
are your elbows polite on the table?
Yeah, right. They use the inside fork instead of the outside fork. Yeah. I mean, there it is, right there.
They wait to see which young, rich professional athlete gets the bill.
Yeah, that's right.
When they put it face down on the table, that's when you and I start to go.
I gotta go to the bathroom. Huh, weird.
Yeah. See which one of them just picks it up and goes.
That's right.
I got this, guys. What a gent.
What a gent.
And here is your trophy, Mr. Eberle.
Trophy. That's hilarious. Or Bing trophy. Yeah, that's right. Well, after that, it's the NHL entry draft, where the Oilers will go first overall for yet again a third straight year. Who do they go with?
Lot to talk about it, of course. It's
Yes.
become what we do
It is.
in Edmonton at this time of year. Just debate who's going to go first.
Right.
No, it's a little different when it's your city, right? Because you and your team, it means a little more to you because you're going to see this guy all the time. So that's been all the talk once again.
Yes.
It seems like Nail Yakupov is the guy. Personally, I'm always of the opinion that if you're drafting first, especially if you're drafting first, even like top 5-ish or I guess anytime, best player available, no matter what. If it's a goalie, take the goalie. Thankfully, it's not.
No.
If it's a defenseman, you take the defenseman, even though he might take a few years to break the lineup. If it's a forward, hell yeah, you take the forward.
Yeah.
But Nail Yakupov, he's not a consensus number one. It doesn't sound like. There's people saying that there's other players that could go, I guess, depending on the team's needs. But I say you'll be choked if you don't take him.
Absolutely. This guy's a potential 40-goal scorer. Trade for defensemen, draft forwards.
Yeah.
That's the way it's got to be. So
well, I was looking down the list of defensemen picked first overall in the last 10, 20 years. Guys like Chris Phillips.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Good player. Still in the league, but not the same as some of the forwards that have been taken.
Absolutely. Yeah, those guys are game changers. I agree completely. Yeah.
There is talk of taking a defenseman, but that doesn't address the right nowness of their needs on defense.
Yeah, that's right. No, I think you're there. I think there's a 25% chance they trade up the draft. I mean, it's there. They might do that, but if they do go first, I think you're absolutely right, Jim. Nail Yakupov all the way. Let's move on here to a bit of boxing news, where the WBO says it will review the result of the Manny Pacquiao-Timothy Bradley fight. But like everything in boxing, it's not quite how it seems, is it, Jim?
Jeff, this is beautiful right here.
Right.
Everyone's accusing the judges of being involved in some kind of conspiracy, right? To give Bradley the win so that there would be a rematch. Because if Manny Pacquiao won that fight, there probably wouldn't be a rematch, right?
Right.
So they give him the win. They have a rematch. They make double their money. Because it's the same promoter promoting both guys, right? Fine. So, okay, he pushes for review. Bob Arum pushes for a review. You know what the result of the review is going to be if they decide that it should have gone Pacquiao's way?
What's that?
Yes, a rematch.
No kidding.
So
either way,
we're getting a rematch. No wonder Bob Arum was pushing so hard for an investigation. It seemed a bit like both of the fighters are your guy, and he's out there going, "That was never Timothy Bradley should never have won that fight," and Now we go, okay, well, if there's an investigation, they force you to have a rematch.
And then you've got no excuse. That's some good promoting right there.
Joke, man. Boxing is crazy.
Oh, man. Boxing's such a joke right now. Such a joke.
We got another good boxing story coming up in the
Absolutely.
I think it's the Punchline this week. So,
well, we're going to talk cycling now, which has become a little bit of a joke, kind of like boxing, which must mean there's some sort of doping scandal, Jim.
The U.S. Anti-Doping Agency has brought formal charges against Lance Armstrong.
Jeez.
They say they have a ton of evidence, witnesses, all kinds of stuff. And because of this news, he's been banned from his new love, triathlons.
How about that? After all that,
back up to cycling a little bit in triathlons. You know,
a little bit.
That's a weird one. Like, there's been talk about that for how long now?
No
Years.
kidding.
All the Floyd Landis stuff, and now apparently he could get all his titles and everything taken away. And
I mean, he was denying it the whole time,
Yeah.
like he was, I don't know. Cycling's got to get their stuff in order, Jim, because it is absolutely a disgrace right now. Like, how are they ever going to get anybody to watch anything ever again?
yeah, and much like the whole bounty thing in the NFL, I'm dying to see what evidence they have.
Yeah, absolutely. And if they say mountains of evidence, well, it took you that long to come out with that? Okay,
Yeah.
sure. We're going to move on to the Gabbies now. Jim, let's give a good to San Francisco Giants pitcher Matt Cain, who threw the second perfect game of the season this week, striking out career best 14 in a 10-0 win over the Astros. Best of both worlds in that game, Jim. 10 runs on offense, Perfect game on defense. Did you see some of the help that some of his outfield gave him there? Oh man, they something else. He definitely deserved it. It was a good game for sure by Cain, but had a little help from his teammates, which that's the way it should.
That one diving snag out by the warning track,
absolutely amazing.
Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You forget about that sometimes when we're talking about perfect games and no hitters and all this. It's not just the pitcher.
No, it really isn't.
Sometimes there's catches like that one where you're like,
unbelievable.
9 times out of 10, you're not making that catch.
That's right.
Thankfully, this was the 10th.
Exactly.
Also this week, Jeff, Alex Rodriguez hit his 23rd career Grand Slam that ties him with Lou Gehrig for the most all-time. It was also his 639th career home run. Not a bad week for baseball.
Not at all. And anybody who says, A-Rod's really, there's so many naysayers against A-Rod for the Hall of Fame and all this other stuff. 20 ties him up there with Lou Gehrig. That's something to be said. So the only thing is...
But I think the naysayers are on the performance-enhancing drug side of things.
Okay,
right?
That's true too. But still, it's just,
it's
sheer numbers alone. It's amazing.
Pump me with steroids. I couldn't even get it out to the warning track. Never mind,
right.
Over the wall.
And finally, a good to Nik Wallenda. Everybody's been hearing about this story this week, who successfully walked across Niagara Falls on a tightrope on Friday night. The first person since 1896 to accomplish the feat. Yes, ABC made him wear a safety harness, but still, even with a safety harness for me, I'd be falling off that thing, crying for my mother. I swear to God, that's crazy right there.
The water moving under you, mist in the air, there's not a chance.
Yeah.
Sometimes I fall on the stairs.
Oh, exactly.
There's a rail.
Safety harness there.
Yeah, that's crazy. Someone that can get themselves all jacked up to do that.
Oh man,
it's just unfathomable for me.
Exactly.
But that was a long trek as well.
It took him a long time. Yeah, I really liked
he was wearing the harness.
Yeah.
But he didn't fall, so he could have just been not wearing the harness, and it would have been the same.
I liked
It's probably good to wear a harness, though. You don't want the guy to die.
Well, not on live television. Okay, goodbye. That's, and cut to commercial.
Yeah.
So.
A commercial for safety harnesses.
That's right.
Let's give a bad this week, Jeff, to Los Angeles TV station KTLA.
Right.
One of many American media outlets that had no clue what was happening in the Stanley Cup final or the entire playoffs, let's be honest, even though it was their team who was the story of the league, smashing teams and making it all the way to the final, then winning. KTLA wrapped up the brutal run of bloopers by going live to the Lakers victory parade in their traffic chopper. Come on. Honestly.
That's amazing to me. Yeah, absolutely. They really don't
write it on your hand if you're going to forget.
Write it on your hand.
That's it.
Exactly. I like that. Well, a bad to some fans at Euro 2012. During a recent game between Croatia and Italy, reporters say Croatian fans were observed doing monkey chants at Italian striker Mario Balotelli. And someone even threw a banana at one point. We've talked about this before on the show. There is absolutely no room for this stuff in sports or life, really, Jim.
It's ridiculous.
So hopefully they get that stuff sorted out.
Yeah, at least they're watching for it. But
well, exactly.
I guess there's not a whole lot you can do.
No.
UEFA has when this kind of stuff happens, they threaten the teams. They say they'll take points off them in the standings and stuff if it continues to happen. I don't know if that's fair, but that might be the one thing that gets the fans to stop doing it.
Well, that's the thing. The fans care about that kind of stuff. So, that might be the only punishment worth it there.
Either way, ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Finally, a bad to our favorite type of sports injury, Jeff. The celebrating a perfect game injury.
Mm-hmm.
This time it's Aubrey Huff. He smacked his knee on a railing while on his way out to celebrate with Mr. Cain. Deep bruise, had an MRI and everything, possibly on the DL.
Unbelievable. Baseball injuries. We could do a whole show just on baseball injuries and making fun of them. I love it.
That's 2 perfect games and 2 guys hurt in the on-field celebration.
Absolutely. They just got to watch out next time. That's fantastic, though.
Take some safety precautions.
Exactly. Well, maybe they should be wearing safety harnesses. Perfect game safety harnesses. Let's get back to boxing, folks, for the Punchline this week. And it's Floyd Mayweather Jr. who tried to get out of jail, Jim.
Jeff, his lawyer says he may never fight again. If he's not released from the Las Vegas prison that he's holed up in, they say his health is deteriorating because he can't work out, apparently. And his doctor believes, this is the best part, this is a direct thing that the doctor said, his time in jail could do irreversible damage to his physique.
Right.
They were hoping to get house arrest instead. Judge said no.
And rightfully so. Come on now, you do your time. Like, I'm sorry, if you're worried about your physique, you probably shouldn't have committed a crime.
Yeah, and like, you can't work out in jail? What are you talking about, man?
Is that all they do?
That's what I thought. But he's fine. He's in kind of a solitary kind of thing because he's so famous, right? So he's on his own for 23 hours a day, but still, like push-ups, sit-ups, like, I don't know, something you can do.
There's lots of stuff you can do.
Irreversible damage to his physique, like you say. Well, that's, I guess, sorry, that's how it goes, man.
That's too bad, exactly. Yeah, well, too bad for Mayweather Jr.
But that's going to be the new excuse that why he can't fight Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you want to fight me now that my physique is all changed?
That's exactly right. Oh, brutal. Boxing. Well, folks, that's our 15 Minutes of Fame up for this week. Join us again next week when we get a whole new 15 Minutes of Fame. In the meantime, I'm Jeffrey Driscoll.
And I'm Jim Kerr.
Have a good week, folks.